Hey, it's Dan here from Thomas Roder Support. I'm just going to take you through this setup and general use of Contact Form 7. Anyone who's used our themes will know that this is our preferred plugin of choice. It's widely adopted in the WordPress community, and it's tried and tested and just generally very solid. Now, this particular setup I've got here is with our latest Quoon WordPress theme. However, the process remains very much the same. As it is a recommended plugin, you should probably have this installed by now. If not, head to plugins, add new, and within the repository itself you can search for Contact Form 7 and just install it direct from WordPress itself. I've already done this, so yeah, we don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to take you through basically how to get started. So when you've installed the plugin, you'll get a new area in your admin, just under comments here, contact forms. If we have a quick look now, because we're using the demo data from Quoon, you see we've got a couple of pre-styled forms here. But what contact form actually comes with in addition to those is just a default form, very generic, certainly not very interesting to look at, but it does the job. So we're going to concentrate on that just to make sure you kind of get a general understanding how it works with every theme. So if we take a look and hit the edit button and see what we've got, and you'll see with the recent changes within Contact Form 7 mean the entire interface is completely different. It wasn't terrible to begin with, but this is a massive improvement. Everything's all neatly tabbed and should make a lot more sense to anyone using the plugin. But obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably not in a position to say you're a pro. So we're going to take you through what all this is and how it all works. So to begin with, just looking at the default form, we can see we've got some areas already in the editor here. Now we've got a few tabs as well. We'll just go through what each of those does. So the first one you come to, as I say, we've got here, is the actual form itself. This is where you pop in your various fields and HTML, depending on how you want to style it. This is generally how you build what the user sees and inputs the information into. The next one is how the message is handled. So obviously, if you've created a whole bunch of fields here, they need to correspond to an actual email message, and again, the default form that you get with the plugin should give you a good overview of how it works. So we would specify an email address for it to send to. I'm working locally, so obviously it's kind of useless. Then we set up what you see in your inbox. Obviously, if you were to leave the default form as it was, the name as the user inputs it on the form is what would appear there, and then obviously you've got different areas where the shortcodes are used to give you the subject and the general content. The messages, now when you're actually submitting a form, you do see various messages giving you the feedback of what's happened or if something's gone wrong. This is where you customize that, and the additional settings, which to be fair we're not going to cover here, but the plugin is incredibly easy to work with. So if you're a developer or whatnot, you can go into additional features here and start coding in your own features. We're not going to deal with that today, so we're going to look at just the form to begin with. So without changing any of this, we're going to take the default form and pop it into a page and just see what it looks like. So we grab the shortcode we've got here. Obviously this will be different depending on your form and the name of it and whatnot, and we'll just create a new page. We'll call it Dan's Contact Test. Clear all this. Okay, in its most basic form, this can work like any other shortcode you've come across in WordPress. You can simply just drop it into a page as you would normally. Don't really need to do anything else to this to show you, so I'll just publish the page. And if we take a quick look, there we go. You can see we've got basically a very basic form. Just looks great. Obviously that's the styling that we provide with the theme, but at the moment it's just not really much to look at, not many fields and whatnot. But just to give you an idea of what each thing in the back end does, so that messages tab we saw, if I just head here, So the messages tab we saw here, now that controls the messages that you see. For instance, we've submitted a completely empty form, so we've got a little message there telling us that there's a problem and go and fix it. Now, if you personally may think that that's a little vague, that's not a problem. You can just head into the plugin and you can see there, we can just get rid of this and pop in whatever you want. You might want to go a bit more descriptive than that, but you know, I'm generally trying to prove a point. So if we just refresh the page and try again, there we go. We've got our own little response if there's a problem, and we can just go through and tweak all of the different messages as you go. Very simple. So let's say we want to change the style of these. Now, what Concept Form 7 can do is pretty much handle everything. So although the default form looks quite pretty, we can actually pop the label for the items as a placeholder text in there, which looks even slicker again. So we head back to the default form, and I think what I'll do, rather than edit this, we'll just create a new one from scratch. So let's just remove that. Because we want this to be, say, where the user puts their name in, we'll add a new text button here. This bit, you can give it your own name if you like. Maybe we will just call it user name. And this is where you actually set the placeholder text, so we would put your name. Because we want to use that as placeholder as well, we'll tick that box. And I think, given it's kind of important to get an idea of who you're talking to, but should they send you an email, we'll make it required as well. As you can see, it's all very straightforward. It simply does everything for you, gives you all the options you've got. If you're feeling a bit more advanced, if you do want to apply certain styling, again, if you're a bit more of a developer and you know how to work with CSS, then you can add your own classes and IDs here. For this overview, we're not going to worry too much about that. I'll just hit the insert button, or of course if you wanted to, you can just copy and paste this manually, but I'll let the plugin do it for me. There you go, we can see we've got that in our little field now. If we hit save and take another look at the form, there we go. We've lost the label from the top there, but now we've got a really sleek placeholder text here, which of course will disappear as your user types in. Looks fantastic, takes 2 seconds to set up, I'm sure you'll agree it's pretty damn impressive. Next up, we want to know how we would take that information and pop it into that form. Obviously it's all well and good with the default form, it's all set up for you, but we want to say, for instance, swap what we've had and put our new username block instead. So we'll head to the message and we'll see we've got a few instances here where it's got your name. Well, we know we want to get rid of that, and what the plugin also does, if you don't want to switch back and forth to see what you've got, it gives you a list of all the different shortcodes for the different fields you've popped into your plugin right there. So it's telling us that these ones are valid and obviously this one isn't anymore. So we'll swap that for username. Sure, I've probably missed one here, but we'll just hit save. And that would mean that when a message is submitted via the form, obviously the field will apply. So let's say you've started a new form, for instance, and you're missing particular sections. Say, for instance, you're getting somebody's name but no message body. Simply head to the mail area within the plugin and double check that all of your shortcodes within your form are represented within the message itself. Obviously if you run into any problems, just head over and see me on support and I'll be happy to help. So it's pretty much a general overview of the plugin. Obviously we're not going to go too deep, just want to give you an idea of how it all works. The actual plugin itself has a fantastic support forum over at WordPress, but if you are having some issues which you believe may be related to the theme, then please come and see me and I'll be happy to assist. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.